Now, the prospect of Israeli retaliation against Iran for its drone and missile attack at the weekend has West Asia on edge. Iran's political and military leaders have repeatedly warned that they will respond to any Israeli retaliation, potentially triggering yet more attacks. Now, as Tel Aviv response weighs, in fact, there is more on Israel's potential strike options. And my colleague Raisha Sehgal gets you more on this.
The prospect of Israeli retaliation against Iran for its drone and missile attack at the weekend has West Asia on edge. Iran's political and military leaders have repeatedly warned that they will respond to any Israeli retaliation, potentially triggering yet more attacks. As Tel Aviv weighs response, here's more on Israel's potential strike options. Well, the Israeli War Cabinet is studying options for a painful retaliation against Iran. Reports suggest that the Israeli War Cabinet agreed to strike back at Iran clearly and forcefully. However, Israel intends to respond in a way that it does not spark a devastating regional war. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu has reportedly asked the Israeli Defense Forces to draw up a list of targets that Israel could choose to hit that the U.S. would not object to. Remember, Biden told Netanyahu at the weekend that the United States, which helped Israel blunt the Iranian attacks, will not participate in an Israeli counter-strike. Well, hardliners in the cabinet said that Tel Aviv should not waste time with its retaliation for Iran's first ever direct attack on Israel. Well, National Security Advisor Minister Ben Gvir said, and I'm quoting him here, to create a deterrent in the Middle East, Israel has got to show that it is prepared to go berserk on Iran. Now, let's take a look at Israel's potential strike options. While some hardline Israeli security establishment figures may view this weekend's escalation as a window of opportunity to go after Iran's nuclear facilities, which is their number one option. This option is seen on the high end of the escalation spectrum. As like I mentioned, Iran's key nuclear facility, Natanz, is dug into the side of a mountain so deep in the ground that it might be impenetrable to even the largest US-made bunker-busting bomb. And a direct attack on Iran's nuclear program, that would probably mean end of the ad hoc coalition of Arab states that supported the Israeli defense effort this weekend. Well, as per the foreign policy publication, the Israelis have to be careful not to go too far to anger the biggest weapons patron during an election year for US President Joe Biden. Next, Israel could target a high-value Iranian military leader or hit key sites or weapons depots inside the country, or even the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps headquarters. However, this weekend's retaliatory attacks again show that there is notable escalation risk in Israel going after Iranian military leaders. However, the killing of a high-value target might also allow Israel to bide its time, perhaps for weeks or months, and this strike option is perceived at a level risk of moderate. Well, number 3, Iran hopes to use its network to move equipment and personnel across West Asia to strengthen the country's drive for regional hegemony and perhaps remove Western powers. In recent years, Iran has sought to improve cooperation among these forces to form a more united axis of resistance against mutual enemies. Tehran has relied heavily on its axis of resistance, armed groups in Iraq, Yemen, Lebanon, Syria and others. They share Tehran's goal regarding countering Israel and weakening U.S. influence in the region. Well, display of Israeli military might in the region after barely an Iranian drones or missiles succeeded over the weekend could dent Tehran's international credibility. However, attacks on Hezbollah and other groups carries risks of its own for Israel, and its armed forces could end up suffering considerable losses, and this strike option is perceived at a level risk of moderate. Last but not the least, Israel might settle for a low-end response. Tel Aviv may roll out a series of carefully disguised cyber attacks that devastate Iran's military-industrial complex.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.